Hello everyone, welcome to The Voice of Nursing. My name is Adrian Tracy, I'm CEO of ICG Medical. Today we are delighted to be joined by Eti Rosenberg.
Nice to meet you.
Eti,
Hi,
welcome.
hello everybody.
Welcome to The Voice of Nursing. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So, obviously I'm a nurse, and I've been a nurse for the last 30-something years. My role right now is actually I'm heading the planning and policy department for the largest HMO in Israel, which has close to 14,000 nurses. And we have 14 hospitals and 2,500 clinics all over Israel, in which we have also 3 nursing schools and also an online 24/7 answering calls by nurses.
It's a big job.
Yeah.
Israel. Welcome.
Yeah.
We're going worldwide. The first person from Israel here.
I'm so proud.
Our first nurse.
I'm so proud.
Tell us about how you got into nursing.
So I was growing up in a very traditional family, the first of 5 kids, and my father had this dream of me being a nurse, a mercy nurse, an angel nurse. So back in high school, listening to him, I wasn't sure it was the right thing to me. But then in Israel, every girl has to go to the army. It's mandatory.
Military service.
It's a military service. The girl goes for 2 years, the boys for 3. And my parents said I wasn't allowed to do that out of religious reasons. So instead of doing that, I went to what is called a national service. You pick what you want to do as a meaningful service that is not into the military regime. So I picked hospital. I came to the head nurse and she said, you look like a nice girl. Do you mind taking care of guys growing up in a 5-girl household? And I said, that'll be just fine. And she put me in the urology department at the age of 18. And I fell in love. I fell in love with the nurses. I fell in love with the meaningful life they had, with the difference they made on patients. And this is how I became a nurse. When I finished that, I went into nursing school.
And talk us through your career, because obviously you've gone, the role you're doing now is a massive responsibility.
Absolutely.
Tell me how you ended up, because nurses have such varied careers.
Absolutely. I've been to so many roles, it's unbelievable. I think from a young age, and from being just a staff nurse in a ward, internal ward, I was spotted as someone who could do leadership roles.
Okay.
And that was very fast that I was asked to do so. And I started as running clinics of cardiology and diabetes, and then followed by leading the unit of fertility in the largest hospital in Israel. And then straight forwards to be the head nurse of the hospital, which was really a big change. But I do think it's all the same. Once you take care of patients and the patients turn to be your nurses, you still do it with the same compassion and the same empathy and care. And so I think it was really obvious that I'm going to be a part of the what we call a career in leadership role. And ever since that was the theme. After hospital, I went to the community and then to a strategic part, just like that, the one I'm doing right now.
And talk us through the strategic planning area. So, what are the biggest kind of top 3 sort of concerns or top 3 issues that you kind of come across?
Yeah, I think we have, the first concern is how do we recruit to our profession? How do we make people see the value of nurses and the meaningful job they do? This is one large thing to do, because when do you start that? Do you start that when they are in high school or when they're in primary school, when they are after the big trip, when they finish up, before university? When do you really? And nurses do not really portray their work the way they should. I think this is the second problem I see, the image of nursing. Image nursing has changed through the years, and for myself, I've decided that there will be no pictures with nurses and injections in everything I do, and I do quite a lot of them. Because you meet someone and you ask, what is nursing? He would say, oh yes, she's the one who gives the injections. This is something extremely wrong. We should first learn, the nurses, to portray the work, to tell what we do, how we make critical decision making. What do you really do except from the compassion or physical activity, which is just a small part of what we do. So this is one thing I think we should really change, and I'm trying to do it in many ways. And also I think it's gonna be a lot about staffing and how many nurses should be taken of how many patients, in terms of safety, in terms of burnout that we see a lot in nurses, and in terms of career path. I mean, you started as a young nurse, and the young generation, the millennials, they want to know on first day, what am I going to be in the next 5 years? Mm-hmm. Don't tell me just wait and see. Things that happens to me when I was a young nurse just don't work anymore, and we should adapt. We should make it easier for them, and we should listen and understand the young generation. So the working in all kinds of generation in the workforce is also a big problem. And what we don't have, but I hear there's a lot of issues here in Britain are connected to immigration and how do you deal with all kinds of backgrounds and how to make the culture and the atmosphere at work. But in this kind of area, I could give you some advices.
Well, we can take any advice we can get.
Yeah.
But you've studied abroad though, haven't you?
I've studied in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But didn't you go to the US for a period of time?
Yes. My husband was relocated. He had a diplomatic career. So we were relocated to New York.
Very nice.
And I took the exam, and I've decided to experience New York as a nurse.
Okay.
And it was really actually very easy to find jobs and to run two very large doctor's office in the middle of Manhattan.
Very nice.
And with lots of nurses. And I think what I've learned there, I really learned a lot about service and how do you deal with patient and how do you make it personal. Because there were private doctor's office with 8,000 private patients. Some of them were very famous, and dealing with those people and having them manage the treatment was something I've learned very well in the States, which is really rewarding because when you get to the heart of people, you really do get to be a part of their life in happiness and in sadness.
Agreed. We will. Well, I know everyone probably wants to know who the famous people are, but I won't ask you.
No, I can't tell. It's
confidential.
Confidential.
What do you see the sort of main differences between healthcare in Israel and healthcare in the UK?
Well, the NHS have been to Israel to learn some of the things we do, and I was really blessed and honored to teach them some of them. And I think what we've done in Israel is mainly the way we connect the nurses and make them really united. And we do have immigrants from Russia. We have a lot of the Arabs section, and some are native Israeli, but some really got the education abroad. And what we made really good is working together. They are really friends. They are really family.
How do you bring that group together? Because that's different.
It's really, I think you have to work in it and respect everybody's beliefs, respect everybody's holidays. I'm running the largest Facebook group for nurses in Israel.
Okay.
And if the Ramadan is now,
yeah.
So there will be greetings for Ramadan, and there will be acknowledgement of how it's to work when you're fasting. and you get appreciation for that, and you make it personal for everyone to respect his beliefs, and to put this one mission that we all have, and the one swear that we all took, that we will care for everybody regardless of race and color and background and age. And we're doing a lot of things together. If it's now the Ramadan, we're doing the iftar dinner, which breaks the fast, and everybody comes together, the Jewish part, the Arab part, the Christian part, all together for the evening, mostly in the yards of the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're doing it together because they want to be united. Maybe it's not that easy when Israel is sometimes in war, and so people do express their opinions naturally, but we try to find the common background and to make them feel that we are united by our profession. And I think it's really family. It's a family.
And how do you see that as different, maybe some of the stuff we see in England or the NHS?
I think what you have here is the problem is that a large part of the NHS is new. Many nurses are recruited from abroad, and all of them together, it's kind of hard to put that culture. Culture takes time. It's not coming out of blue. You have to really work on it to make sure everybody gets his time for his religion, his life. In Israel, it's mandatory that you have holidays. You have holidays for the Arab background, you have holidays for the Jewish background, and Christianity, and you have to respect it as in law, of course. So I think you should work on it, on doing things together, on connecting people, on finding the things that unite us.
And what do you see any similarities of things that we do in the NHS and things we do?
I think there's quite a lot of similarity.
Okay.
In regard that this is the NHS, that the government, the state runs the health, and everybody are insured. So it's exactly the same thing in Israel. You are insured once you are a citizen of Israel, regardless of your position, status, or money. And also the fact that the hospitals are not run privately; they're all
public.
And the community. So it's the same thing. You have community and hospitals that run by the same owner, and that is free of charge actually, and you get to have your health done either way. But and I think we do have, just like you have here, issues about continuity of care, going through from the hospital to the community, who's going to take care, how's it going to be, and of course also the parts that you think some of the services you would like them to be free and they're not free.